What's the word, y'all? Welcome back to Called Game. Today we have a very special guest, Metta Sandiford-Artest, former Defensive Player of the Year, one of the last enforcers ever in the game of basketball.
Boys so focused, you know this my tragedy. From the logo like Dane Bay. Tell him I gotta go and get the money good cause the money won't pay me. If anybody really think he no ballin' with please tell him come to pay me. Or you can go to YouTube and search Called Game, watch it on HD. Yo.
And that's Game. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You are one of my guys, man, because everybody that knows me knows I love basketball, but more specifically, I love defense.
Okay.
And you were locking everybody up in your prime, so this is like the perfect mesh.
Absolutely. So you still play?
It's been years.
Oh,
it's been years.
Okay.
I mean, the highest I got was like high school.
Oh, okay.
But not even varsity.
What city?
Chicago.
Oh, you were
born and raised in Chicago.
What part? What city?
I was born on the west side of Chicago.
What street?
Mulligan.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that means anything to you.
No.
It's like Austin area, Galewood area.
Okay.
That's where I grew up. And then like once we got to high school, Pops moved me out of the city because it was rough. And we ended up in the suburbs. And
Okay.
for a couple of years, I was kind of hooping in the suburbs.
All
and
right.
then shoulder surgery, you know the story.
Okay,
It wasn't for the
yeah.
shoulder, you know.
It wasn't for the shoulder.
It wasn't for the shoulder.
I'd be saying that about my knee. Wasn't for my knee, I would have had a couple more years.
So we wanna start off with something like home court dictionary, right? I just told you my story from Chicago, and I feel like a lot of the players in Chicago have like this identity, right? I'm thinking like Patrick Beverly, Anthony Davis. You know, a lot of these guys are like hard-nosed, great defenders. What would you say the identity of your hometown? We talk about Queens, New York. What is the identity there for the hooper?
I would say solid fundamentals. When you look at, the guys from Queens, you look at Lamar Odom, Metta, Kenny Anderson, Kenny Smith, Mark Jackson. Who else is from Queens?
That's a great list already.
Harkless. There's a couple other guys, from Queens that made it. And, I think it's definitely some fundamentals there. Guys like Kenny Anderson, they had some flair.
Right.
But it might be a little different from like the Kemba Walkers from Uptown.
Right. They got a little bit. I'm
Marbury
not gonna say
from Brooklyn.
No, I'm not gonna say style, but they had a little bit more flair to them, right? We're talking about Kemba and Stephon Marbury.
Uptown's always the flyest, right? Uptown is, to me, the flyest people. I love the ballers from Uptown because they just so. They do have a style, like it's fashion. Brooklyn, I would say Brooklyn is like just good all around ball players. Who else is from Brooklyn? Well, Marbury. We had Charles Jones was nice.
So we talk about that. You play for one of the greatest AAU basketball teams of all time. Who's all on that roster?
On that roster, you had me, Elton Brand, Lamar Odom, Reggie Jesse, who I went to St. John's with Reggie Jesse, and we both was all city together. So he was on that team. Eric Barkley, another all-city McDonald All-American. Sharif Towns, another all-city guy.
Right.
We had Kitswana, another all-city guy from New York City.
Just a deep roster.
Deep roster. Everybody was all city for the most part.
Wow.
Some years we played with Speedy Claxton. He played the Spurs.
Right, I know Speedy.
Some years we did play with him.
Okay.
One year we had Shea Cotton.
Okay.
Shea from out here. We were stacked. We
So-
had a big guy. Yeah, Katana. I got another. Katana was like 7 foot. Aki was like 6'10". Big guys that could just
How
ball.
did these teams even come together?
Brian, you said who? How they come together?
How did they come together? Yeah.
Well, Riverside's like all-star team, right? So everybody, you either want to play with Riverside Church, or you want to play with the Gauchos.
Okay. I know about the Gauchos for sure.
Gauchos,
I've
that's
been
where
there.
Marbury played.
Right.
And so when you playing ball, when they call you, it's like, yo, I just got the call from
Right.
Riverside.
Right. It's like Adam Silver hitting you up like, man, you
It's
on the
big.
All-Star team.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah. Okay. So
And, yeah.
y'all went what, like 80-something and 1?
67 and 1.
67 and 1.
Yeah, we was beating everybody.
I do want to know about that one loss though.
Baron Davis team.
It was Baron Davis.
Yeah.
Who was on that roster other than him?
It was Baron Davis, the Collins twins.
Okay.
And a couple other
Jaren
ballers.
and Jaren.
Yeah.
Okay.
They beat us. They was playing really well. They beat us by 20. And then so then they beat us. Then they had another tournament to go to. Or Baron had another tournament to go to. So the team that was supposed to play them in the championship, they had to leave.
Right.
So we was sitting there. They was like, yo, y'all want to play in a championship game against Baron team? And we was like, yes. But Baron can't really defend himself because he wasn't at that game.
Right.
But we beat them by 20.
Yeah, I mean, Barron's such a special player.
Yeah, he was
it makes sense that like you lose him, you're probably gonna lose the game.
I remember the game, and we had a great point guard in Eric Barkley, and Barron, they both was playing well, but Barron was always special, man. Barron could just score, and he was a kind of a big guard, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I always grew a ton of respect for Barron.
You just mentioned Eric Barkley. The name sounds super familiar. Did he go to St. John's with you?
Eric went to St. John's,
Okay.
McDonald All-American. He also got drafted in the first round.
Did he play for the Bulls?
I don't think he played for the Bulls.
Okay, my trivia is kind of off right now. My trivia is kind of
Yeah, I
off
don't
right
think he
now.
played for the Bulls, but he was a special player.
Okay.
Yeah, special player.
So you go from the subway to the L train. You get drafted to the Chicago Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Story tell it underneath your uniform or your suit. You got the New York Knicks jersey.
Yeah.
So what did that feel like that they passed on you? Because for people that don't know at home, 15th overall, the New York Knicks select a guy that never even came over to the league. He just stayed overseas the whole time. And then 16, we have Ron Artest at the time. So what did that feel like?
It felt good. I just knew I was going to the Knicks, and I was projected to go top 10.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of knew I wasn't going to go top 10 because when you look at the first 10 picks, I was still risky at that time, you know. So I kind of knew I was going to go top 10, but I'm like 15 when I did all the numbers. I had it maxed at 13. I thought I should have won lottery.
Right.
But in my mind, I'm like, lottery is great, but I don't want to go lottery because I want to go to the Knicks. So I had the Knicks shorts, you know, on, and I had a Knicks practice jersey on under my suit. So that was it. I just knew I was going to New York, and I just, you know, I kind of wanted to put on the show.
Right.
But
So-
it was okay.
If they would have drafted you at 15, you went onto the stage and just like showed it to
Oh
the
yeah, I was
world.
gonna take my pants off and maybe just take my shirt off at that time, because I knew I was ready. I knew like one of the things I was dreaming of was playing behind Latrell and playing behind Houston. Because when I looked at them in the playoffs, I knew I wasn't as good as them, but on defense, I knew I could save them some time.
Right.
As a young player, like
And they went pretty deep in that playoff run, right? Right after you got
went
drafted
deep.
to the
Yeah,
Bulls.
they went to the championship.
See, that's why they should have drafted you.
Well,
man.
you know,
I mean, things are different if you end up there instead of going to Chicago.
I'm still young, so
Right.
I'm only averaging 11 points my rookie year with the Bulls when I'm playing 30 minutes a game.
Right.
So I wasn't that good.
Right.
But I think I could have sustained on defense. I could have been pretty good
The
on
defense was always there.
It was solid, yeah. When I came in, it was solid.
Right. So you end up on the Bulls. This is something I want to ask you, since you are such a big New York guy. How did it feel to end up on the Bulls, especially with all of the things that just went on with the New York Knicks and the Bulls fighting each other for basically 10 years when it comes to the 90s? So you end up there. Is there like some type of, I don't want to say dread or anything, but like you're a Knicks fan at the end of the day, and now you're just going to the biggest competitor.
I know, but the Bulls, it was crazy because every time I played Live 99, you was like, how old are you? What year you supposed
I was born 96, but I know Live 99.
Yeah, you know, because you researched it, but you wasn't there.
I wasn't there playing, right.
Live 99 was fire. Right?
Yeah.
It was just like every day playing all day. I played with the Bulls. You know, so I would play with my friend, his name is Cedric, and he played with the Pacers. So, you know, I was playing with the Bulls since I was 13 years old.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, because they were stacked. I can't imagine how good they were on the video game.
It was crazy. It's like Michael Jordan. I'm playing with the best player every game.
Right.
And when I went to the Bulls, it was kind of like my favorite team. It was like a dream. You know, going to a team where you're literally playing with the team every day
Right.
on the video game.
Right.
Now you're a Bull on that game. Now
Right.
you're a Bull.
Right.
It's crazy.
So you end up, how does it feel you just talking about Live 99, you end up in the video game,
Yeah.
right? So that first year in the video game, what did that feel like to finally see yourself there?
I was playing with myself all the time. Right? I was like, this is crazy. I can make shots. I remember when I would play bad, I would play the game and play with myself in the locker room, right?
Right.
Before the game. It's a vision to see myself
Right.
making
Just
shots.
visually
Yeah,
see
you
it.
see
Right,
some
right,
some shots.
right.
Oh wow, I can shoot a fadeaway. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. Okay, let me try this.
Things come kind of full circle, though, because one of my favorite games, more of my era, you ended up on a soundtrack of with the Champion song.
Yeah.
One of the most fire songs on any 2K soundtrack. I want to know the story behind that.
I'm so Cassius Clay, I'm Tyson in his prime. You little league with, I'm Barry Bonds with mine. I beat the buzzer, baby. My stroke is hole in one. You see the checkered flag, finish line, here I come.
You're in Houston at this
I
point.
was in Houston.
Okay.
I went to the studio, and I was like, "Yo, I need a championship. I gotta become a champion. I'm really talented, and whatever the case may be." So we coming up with records, and I was in the studio with my boy Briss and my boy Sly. They was producing records for Dre, and then Hayes was writing records sometimes for the whole Aftermath team. So we was in the studio together, and we wrote Champion. And Hayes is like, "Moment of silence for the champions." We was all up in there. So we said, "Yeah, this is it.
Right.
We're gonna drop it whenever we win a championship."
Oh, wow. So you had it already made.
Yeah, we had it made in 2009.
I think that the story that I always picture in my mind is that you win the championship with the Lakers, then you immediately go to the booth, you write something, but it was already made a year before.
We made that in June. We made that in June. And it was so cool because when we won it, and when they was interviewing me, and I'm like, that's why I'm like, "Oh, wow, I got a record called Champions." I was like, "Yeah, I got a record called Champions," and it wasn't on iTunes.
It wasn't there yet.
No, I was like, "Oh, wow, but it's not out yet."
Right.
Give us like 7 days.
What about part 2? I heard rumors about a part 2.
Yeah, part 2 was dope, yo. So part 2, so we win the championship. You know, I do the podium stuff. I still have my uniform on. I go out to the club, and then party a little bit. And then I go to the studio, to Dre's studio, Aftermath studio. I was going there for quite some time. And then, then literally we just partying. I'm there. Chris Brown was up in there. I gave Chris Brown the jersey.
Right.
I signed it for him. Cause he said, "I got to get that." I said, "All right, if anybody going to get this jersey, it's going to be you."
Right.
I felt honored, right? Take it off, sign it, give it to him. And I still got my warm-ups on. And then we just in the studio vibing, like we smoking, we having a good time. Snoop might have even been there. I swear Snoop was in there. I can't remember.
Man, it's crazy.
And then, so he's, blowing it down, all that stuff. And then it's these moments where people just be in the room and we just be vibing, like, people are like, "Damn, I'm with a champion." Or Ron Artest won a championship. I'm like, "God damn, Dre right here." We just chilling. So I say, "Yo, I got that record Champion too." So I play Champion and they hear it. So, "Oh, this is pretty dope." He said, "But I would do it like this." So in my mind, I'm like, "Are you serious right now?"
Dr. Dre on the
So
track.
we working on a beat with his producers, like the same producers, and my boy Smitty was writing it. And so I'm like, "Y'all want to do this right now?" They said, "Right now." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this is crazy," right? So the beat's done. We write the verse, and then Dre come in and produce the verse. So I go behind the booth, and I'm literally, and it was just such an experience because Dre was literally had me focus on one syllable. One syllable for like maybe 10 minutes.
Wow.
Sometimes I would get a verse, sometimes I would get a bar, and it'd be cool. But for the most part, Dre was like, "Nah, say it like this, like this, like this,
Right.
like this."
He's just a master of his craft.
Yes, man. But I remember then it was like, so the popper right here, Dre over there, and the popper right there, I'm falling asleep. 'Cause it's like 4 a.m, maybe 5 a.m. And at this point, I'm just like, I don't want to tell Dre that I'm really tired. So I'm just like, I'm keeping my, so I'll say a bar, right? Then Dre will listen to it back, and while he's listening to it, I'm like, just eyes closed. He said, "Okay, Ron," I go, yeah. And then so we did one verse, and I was supposed to come back to finish it, but I don't know. I felt like I had a good time. I was like, job done. I recorded with Dre.
It was more about the experience more than the product.
It was just weird. I was like, I wanted to go back and finish the record. I wanted to go back and finish the record, but I was like, it was a little bit. I was in awe. I'm not gonna lie. I was in awe because I always wanted to be a rapper.
Right.
And then when this happened, I was like, this is crazy. I couldn't make a decision. I couldn't even think straight. So I never went back to finish the record. But Dre's just a great guy.
Right.
Great guy.
Yeah, I'm always super impressed when I see somebody that's like a master at his craft doing it, right? So whenever I go to a basketball game, I try to get there as early as possible just to see people warming up because, I mean, y'all are professionals. Y'all very rarely miss. So I can't even imagine, Dr. Dre's like the best ever.
I know.
He's like the best ever.
I mean, you listen to the album. This is crazy, right? You listen to the album. Man, and I remember him being in the studio, his own studio. I remember walking around the studio one day, and then Dre was just like working. But he was sleep. I'm like, who's sleeping over there on the floor, right? And I didn't want to bother nobody. It's not my spot. But I'm like, oh wow, somebody's sleeping. This is really nice. And I was there all night, so I wanted to find a place to chill, maybe get on my phone or something. It was Dre sleeping like this on the floor
in the studio. That's crazy.
I'm like, this is crazy, man. He get up, hey, what's up? Just like normal.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I want to get back to Chicago though,
Okay.
because you get drafted by them. At the time, Jerry Cross is still in charge. It's right after the Jordan era. Now I'm sure you saw The Last Dance, right?
Yeah.
So in The Last Dance, they made Jerry look like this type of villain, right? Like it's not players that win championship, it's the organization and things like that. So what was your interpretation of playing under him, I guess, for a couple years?
Well, they had their own drama, right? They had everybody be going through stuff. But he drafted me, right? So I feel good about it. Like Jerry Krause drafted Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, traded for Dennis Rodman. And then he got me and my friend Elton Brand. We got drafted together.
Same draft, yeah.
Same team, same draft, right? Same age.
Yeah.
We shared the New York City Player of the Year together, like grabbing it.
Right.
And we did that with a lot of awards, MVP, like just like, and me and him and Lamar, the three of us,
right.
Every tournament MVP, one of us is getting it.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like grateful. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that was their issue. That wasn't my issue, right? So for me, I'm like, I'm happy he drafted me because he also drafted Michael Jordan.
Right.
So that's it. Anything else, I can't really comment on, because I don't really know what's happening. But I know he was really competitive. I know he wanted to win another ring, and I wanted to win a ring too. Even at 19 years old, I'm like, I want to win a championship. So he was real competitive. Like they had the issues, which was publicized, and he'd be like, Ron, we're gonna get number 7. We're gonna get number 7, and I'm in there like, okay. You want to get number 7 because it's the most important to you. But I'm like, those rings you got is really important to me.
Right, yeah.
Right? I'm not telling him that. But I'm like, yo, Jerry, I'm such a fan of these 6 rings, you don't even understand. But I do want to get one too.
Right.
So I'm with you, right? But I was young, and I didn't understand like a process. I wanted it now.
Right.
Right.
So
yeah.
I understand that because you went from high school AAU, y'all barely lost. You go to college in St. John's, you're going like a
high school. My senior year, 27-0.
27-0.
Never lost a game.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I'm not used to losing. So we get Chicago.
And then it was like they were in the rebuild phase, so it was a lot of losses. That's how you guys ended up with Elton Brand.
I was used to like when I try hard, I win.
Right. Right.
I wasn't used to trying really hard
and still losing those games.
Win. I was struggling, man.
Yeah, those are tough rosters.
I was like, I'm giving it my all, but then I was lashing out on different things. I was really upset, but it really was me. I'm a 19-year-old kid playing with men. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't ready.
What type of lash outs you talking about?
Well, just getting upset when you lose. Just anybody that's like, you lose, you just get upset. You see like even when Embiid, when he lost, start crying.
Yeah.
Like that type of passion, is very important. But sometimes as a young player, you don't really understand. Like you're not ready. You're not going to be winning right now.
Right.
You got veterans here, and you got to, either be ready or get ready.
Right.
Right. So things like that.
So the story goes, you're in a little off-season pickup with MJ. Something happens, you end up breaking his ribs, right?
Yeah. So anyway, MJ, extremely tough player. I'm 19 years old. I'm extremely tough. And MJ was playing so well. Like, he literally was going to average 30. When I remember seeing him, I'm like, yo, he's coming back, and he going to average 30.
At this age, he's like, what, 38, 39, maybe 40?
Yeah, he might like LeBron right now.
Okay, bet.
Just like LeBron right now. Same age, I think. So I'm like, yo, he going to average 30, right? And then I was happy I'm playing against MJ. I'm happy because he's going to play well. But I'm also competing. So when he was posting me up, I was just trying to deny him. And he had referees. So the ref actually called the offensive foul. And I told the story a lot because everybody always asks about it. I never put the story out, by the way.
Really?
The Chicago, the media did.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You'd rather keep it low-key?
Well, I never wanted it to get out.
Right.
Who wants that? Who wants
right.
that?
I mean, that's one of your heroes, right? You
Yeah,
just
who
accidentally
wants
hurt
that?
him.
I don't want to be known for that.
Yeah.
But, so when I was trying to deny him, my right elbow, boom, hit him in the ribs. And he was like, Jordan, post you up, he holds you a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And Jordan's strong. So I was just trying to get in front of him. We just fighting in practice. You know, and then not practice, open run. And then I seen him touch his ribs. I'm like, okay. I hit him a little bit. I was like, sorry, Jordan. You know what I mean? My mind. Then I seen him walk back down. He came back down. He holding his ribs. And then he came, hit the game winner at the free throw line, off the dribble, on me, and then left like that. And then the next day, I read, Ron Artest punched Michael Jordan.
Punched him. Just changing
Ron
the whole
Artest punched Michael
narrative. That's
Jordan.
crazy.
I'm like,
man.
You know what I'm saying? Ron Artest punched I was so pissed. And I remember I just didn't leave my room for 2 days. I'm like, my agent called me. I'm like, yo, this is ridiculous. I didn't punch Michael Jordan. And then Michael actually called me. I think my agent called him, and he called. He's like, "Hey, don't worry about it. Things happen, and you're a tough kid." And then I was like, "Thank you, man. I'm sorry." And then he actually invited me to his office. Only 2 times I ever met Mike. I met him at the practice facility. The one time when he played against Corey Benjamin.
Okay, I know
That's
that
all,
clip. I know that clip.
I was sitting there like, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah.
And then on the court multiple times on the summertime, like I don't know. I played against Michael maybe 12 times
Okay.
on the court, maybe more on the summertime. And then I met him on the NBA game on the court.
Yeah.
He gave us 40 one time. I was pissed.
He old too.
I was pissed. He hit his 30th 30,000 point at the free throw line against us. And I remember going into that game, he could hit 30,000 and he needed like 17 points. And in my mind, I'm like, no.
Not against us.
Not against me, right? Not against me. So I'm trying my best to keep him from getting 30,000. I'm trying my best. And he's at the free throw line. Boom, hit one. I'm like, no, right? No. Then he makes the other free throw. And I took my fist. I went to the scorer's table. And boom, 3 times. Boom. So loud, everybody saw it. I was so pissed, and I was a young kid. And I remember being so mad that he hit 30,000 points against my team. And you heard it. And his team started looking at me. You see it too. And bang, I hit the banners where they do the advertisement. I almost broke my wrist. I was so mad. Because I just said, not because I didn't like Michael. I just didn't want that against
Right.
me.
It's that competitiveness.
And I was only 20 years old
Yeah.
at that time. I was really competitive on the defensive side. I don't like anyone to score. I held people to 0.
I know.
In my prime,
Who's
right?
that? Latrell a couple times, right?
Well, I love Latrell. But yeah, one season, he didn't score at one point. You know what I'm saying? And for 2 games. And I've done that multiple times to people. And that's like, and when I'm going into a game, I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like psychic. It's like,
That's the mindset.
I don't want no points. And if you get 2, immediately I'm like, okay, not even a free throw. Nothing. And then sometimes you go up against Vince Carter and he get 30.
It's harder. It's way harder.
Kobe come and get 35.
Right.
You know what I mean? LeBron had 25 points against me his first game
As a rookie?
as a rookie.
Man.
17 years old. And I was the defensive player of the year.
It was that season.
Yeah.
So you mentioned MJ at this age. Comparing it to LeBron, right? You just said they were about the same age. Which is more impressive? What LeBron is doing right now or what MJ was doing in those years?
It's just different because when MJ was playing, if LeBron did what MJ did that early, maybe LeBron gets tired also.
Right. Okay. I see what you mean.
MJ felt like it literally was no competition. That was the feeling. I'm gonna come back again and just win again.
Right.
Like I'm done. I got 6 rings. I've never lost in the finals. No one's gonna catch me, right? And that's his mind, right? So, but LeBron lost in the finals.
Yeah.
LeBron don't have 6 rings. So LeBron, he won 6 rings. But better believes that.
Yeah.
How many he got now?
He's got 4.
He got 4.
He's got 4
That's
right now.
not a lot.
It's
For him?
For him, right.
That's not a
For
lot.
the GOAT conversation, it's not a lot.
For him, that's not a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's hard to compare what their passion is. They're just different. So LeBron's going to be here for, honestly, I thought he was done. When he was slowing, a couple years ago, he was slowing down. I thought he was not. I said, okay, he's going to start winding down and probably retire when he's 40 and maybe not play as well. I didn't know he was going to be playing
Keep it going.
this well.
Yeah.
He's playing extremely well.
Yeah.
I did not know that. So he's going to be here for 3 more years maybe?
At least.
You know what I'm saying?
At this level, yeah. The way
He
he's
gonna be here for
playing.
3 more years?
Because he's so good about managing his time on the court, right? Where like it seems like he can just go 3 quarters with just being okay, and then he'll ramp it up in that 4th quarter. He'll drop 10.
He's smart. He's smart. I mean, it's
Very
like,
smart.
You got to idolize that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I miss playing against those guys, man. I remember always trying to go into a game and stop him. I was just like, he was one of the few guys that literally I couldn't stop when I wanted to. I had maybe a couple good games, but he was one of the guys where I definitely didn't have his number. Some people say I did, but I just don't see it.
Who else was on that list? So LeBron is super hard to stop. Who are some other dudes?
Well, in terms of the hardest, like LeBron and Kobe was like the hardest.
That makes sense. Yep.
And then like I had some good games against other guys, but then when Durant got older, he became really difficult. When he was younger, not as much. And then I guess like with Vince, it was like half and half with Vince. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like he would get some good games, and then I would have some.
Half and half. Vince Carter? Yeah, half man, half amazing.
You know, and then Tracy, sometimes he would get his 30 pieces, and then sometimes I would get I would have my games.
Right.
On the defensive side. And then you look, like Richard Hamilton was a tough one because Richard just run.
Right, yeah.
I remember.
Cardio out of this world.
I don't think I ever had his number. Maybe I got him a couple games, but for the most part, he was difficult.
Yeah.
He was just as tough to me like as Kobe and LeBron.
That's a good name. See, I wouldn't expect the Rip to be up there.
Because Rip don't be marketing himself. Rip is not out there. Rip is not doing like John Sally or like Rick Fox or Metta World Peace. Rip just could play ball.
Yeah.
He doing his thing, and we don't hear about him much. But Rip was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I got to see the end of Rip's career with the Bulls, and by that time he won the same, but he was still crazy good.
Now Rip, he's a winner. He's won in college.
Yep.
Won in NBA.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Rip is a winner. He has this flow of the game he has this control of the game that I don't know if anybody has.
What do you mean?
You know, it's like gravity. He's running, and everybody always has to pay attention to him.
Right.
He's running off down screens. The big man got a hedge all the time. He's making everyone work. And if you switch on Rip, you're going to be working.
Yeah.
You don't want to switch on Rip. I had good cardio, so I didn't mind it, right? But Rip was he's a special player.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a special player.
Before we get to the next thing, talk to me about your app, man, because I know you've been working a lot on this one.
Yeah. X versus X Sports. We do a lot of male games, co-ed games, female games. It's for recreational players to find competition. Some people think they're going to come on the app and just find the game. You got to work.
Right, yeah.
You got to build relationships. You know, you got to talk to the community. Who's doing what? Who at your skill level?
Right.
There's a lot of these apps coming out. You know, I'm just one of many of them. X versus X Sports, we do these showcase games, you know, once a month. And it's a social community for basketball players.
Right.
And, you know, people should sign up and just post content about, your aspirations. And you don't even have to be just a player. You could be an aspiring agent, an aspiring coach. But it's for basketball, for sports, because a lot of athletes don't really have the opportunity to get exposure.
Yeah.
They get lost in all these other social media channels. And there's a lot of talented athletes in America, elite athletes, that can't make money playing basketball also, because there's just so much chaos trying to find the right agent, trying to find the right team.
Right.
And then also, when you look at the recreational players, some recreational players want to play against good competition.
Yeah.
So on this app, if you are a recreational player and you set up a game and invite some people you see on the app, they're going to do their research and see if they want to play with you.
Yeah.
They're going to do their research, look at your profile, and they're going to see if they want to play with you.
Right.
And you might get a good game. And we've been having some amazing games. The games I like the most are the co-ed games.
Okay.
I love the co-ed games because the guys are learning how to play with women and women are learning how to play with guys, and everybody's having a good time, and it's great conditioning. It's great cardio. The co-ed games are some of my favorite. I've played in more co-ed games personally, more than any of the other games.
So you developer of the app, But you also hooping on there too?
I'm hooping, definitely. I hoop. It's a startup.
Right.
Right. So it's not as easy. So sometimes I can hoop, but then sometimes as a startup, you're talking to the developers, you're talking to investors.
Yeah.
You're talking to your interns.
It's a lot of work.
Oh my goodness. You're talking to the product manager and you don't even have, a lot of these you don't even have. Most startup companies, well not most, really good startup companies would have, investors and team that can pay salaries. As a startup with us, that's not the case. So it's like a lot of work.
Right.
But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I can imagine.
It's a lot of fun.
Hey, people at home, be sure to download X versus X.
Yeah,
Get
definitely.
into 'em. Get into 'em.
Absolutely. XVSXsports.com. So XVSXsports.com.
So getting back to your career, you play a couple years in Chicago.
Yeah.
And then you get traded. And through my research, usually there's like a reason, right? There's a reason the player gets traded, whether it be doesn't fit the timeline, which you fit because they're a rebuilding team. So what was the reason that Chicago traded you to Indiana?
Because we were losing and I was a sore loser. I get really upset.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was a sore loser at that time. And then I was always like just causing issues in the locker room and stuff.
So you end up in Indiana. Is that, in your mind immediately, is that a good fit? Because I mean, they're way further down the line to win a championship than Chicago was.
Yeah,
so you're
yeah.
probably pretty happy about it.
I was happy because we was going to the playoffs.
Right.
I go from there. I think I was starting. Yeah, I think I was starting when I got to Indiana.
Right. Immediately.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you swap places with Jalen Rose, right?
Oh,
so you
yeah, I
end up
was
taking this
starting.
spot. Yeah.
Yeah, I was starting, which is crazy. And I was 21 or 22. And it was in the playoffs. And I remember playing against the Nets, my first playoff. And I sprained my ankle the first game.
Wow.
And I had like 15 points in the playoffs the first game. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I was on a bad ankle for the whole time.
You played through it though.
Yeah, I played every game.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, I had 17 points or 15 points in the first game. And then Isaiah was coaching us. And Isaiah was like, man, I feel so bad for you. You was going to play so well. And we took him to game 5.
Right.
We took him to game 5. But it was fun. It was fun.
So you transition from just like, everybody knew immediately that you were a great defender, but then you transitioned that offensive game too. So what was that work like for you to go from, you mentioned yourself, your rookie year, you weren't really able to score the ball, but now you averaging 20 plus points.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I was working hard. I was always able to, I averaged 25 in high school. That's high school. And in college, I only averaged 14.
Right.
I averaged 11 and 14. So for some reason, I stopped scoring, but I was still working, but I don't think I was doing things the right way. Right. So then in the Bulls, I was averaging a 12, then I averaged 11.
Right.
And then the next year, before I got traded, I was at 15. So I was getting better. Then when I got to Indiana, I think I was averaging 13, maybe 14.
For the rest of that season, right?
That season.
Okay.
Then the next year, I was averaging 18.
And then,
Yeah, next year I was averaging
that
18.
blossom hit, the
Then
all-star
I was
year.
working. Yeah, I was averaging 18. I was All-Star that year. And then the next year I came back before the brawl. I was at 24, and I thought I would have been there for the whole season. But some people said, would say, well, you was only 7 games.
Right.
I'm like, cool. Maybe it's 20 points.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Maybe it's 21 I'm averaging. Who knows? But it was 3 points up, so I just kept getting better.
Yeah.
And then when I got back from the brawl, I was at 19, 20. It was actually 19.9 when I left the Pacers. Went to SAC, and then I was out for like 3 months. So it was like 17. Then the next year was 20.
Yeah, you were hooping in Sacramento.
I was
People
hooping
forget
in
about
Sac.
that part of your career, but you were hooping. Like I think
Yeah, I was
one of
hooping.
your career high happened in
My
Sacramento.
career high average
Right. Okay.
was 20 in Sacramento, which it says a lot for me because I was such a defender. So it says a lot. I was a defender, and then I was a go-to guy, which is like, it's normal. It's normal. Like some guys do it better than others.
Right.
Kawhi does it amazing.
Do you see part of you in Kawhi? Because there is like a small parallel between you two.
You can make a comparison if you just take one season I had, take 2 seasons I had, then you can compare it. But Kawhi has so much. He's a sustainable pro, right? So he had way more consistent, professional, and productive years
Right.
than I've had.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to compare it at this point in his career. Maybe 10 years ago I can say that, but at this point he's so far ahead of what I accomplished, it's not even comparable anymore. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you mean.
Yeah,
I
it's
see
not
what you mean.
comparable anymore.
While we're on the topic of like current players, we see like some of the former players kind of just talk trash about the current players, right? It's all over the place. We got some people that really respect the game. Where do you really sit with like 2021 basketball?
I mean, 5 years ago, I wasn't happy 5 years ago. I cannot watch a game because I just did the rules, but it was a transition also.
Yeah.
It was the NBA was betting that this transition is going to be big for the game in the future. The game is super exciting now. I mean, when you see a guy like Stephen Curry can literally make these type of 3-point shots. I mean, back in the days, you didn't even think you can make 10 threes.
Right. And he can do that regularly.
Yeah. The NBA saying something that we didn't see. I didn't see that. I didn't know you can train a human to be that good.
Yeah.
And now you see it now, Devin Booker, look at all these shooters. This is like, it was unbelievable. And the next wave of shooters is just going to be insane.
Yeah.
The next wave of shooters coming to the NBA is just going to be insane. I don't even think we've seen the best.
Yeah.
Because we thought Reggie Miller was the best.
Right. Now, you got a good point there. Because I mean, even I have a nephew who's like hooping. He's trying to make it to the league, right? I think at this point he's like 13, and he watches a bunch of Steph Curry film, right? So these younger dudes about to come into the game with the idea that they can be the next Steph Curry. So Steph Curry hitting 12, 13 threes a couple times a season in a single game may get eclipsed. That 14 3-pointers in a single game by Klay Thompson may get taken out like that when the next generation comes through. It's kind of crazy.
It's amazing. Play's amazing. I can't wait to see him back, man.
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait to see him. That's the same back play. I don't want him. He got injured twice. I don't want to see that again. I want him to come back and just like play. I would be sick. I don't know how I would live with myself.
Yeah.
In that time when I want to play basketball and I can't play for 2 years.
2 years.
Oh my goodness.
So you kind of had your own version of that. After the brawl, you had to sit out for the rest of the season. What was that like for you?
Shout out the rest of the season. It was miserable. I was even trying. I told my agent, "Can I just come back and play, and they can keep the money, please?"
Oh wow.
It don't work like that, buddy.
Yeah.
It don't work like that.
Man.
It don't work like that. It was miserable.
I can't imagine that. I mean, I think everybody got their own passions, right? And yours being basketball, being away from it for that long.
It was miserable, man, because I wasn't playing ball. I was practicing, but I couldn't be in the building when the team was in the building.
Right. So that's rough. That's rough.
I remember I was able to be in the building Reggie Miller's last game.
Oh man.
So they let me come for that. So I was able to sit. I could sneak and sit. Then I had to leave.
So they didn't allow you in the entire building, like the
No, I
building
couldn't go
at
in the
all.
building.
Whoa.
I couldn't go in the building because I was suspended. So then I remember after the season, I can go into the building. The last game, I was right by the tunnel in my car. They finished the game. I'm right by the tunnel. Horn go off. I drive down the tunnel, and I go right to the gym as they're coming out. Yeah.
I know that tunnel.
And get
too.
right to work.
Yeah.
I was like, my goodness. Yeah, it was miserable.
So you come back for a little bit because you ended up opting out and wanting to get traded. You ended up in Sacramento. But that little transition period, was it, I don't want to say the word awkward, but like, you and your teammates, you just said you couldn't even be in the building with them. So
it was awkward for me because it was awkward like as a basketball player. Sometimes, especially an elite it's different between an elite NBA player and then that mid-tier and then that bottom tier. And that elite tier, you have a responsibility.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have a responsibility, but not everyone can handle that responsibility.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was one of the ones that couldn't handle that elite tier responsibility. So so then I became a mid-tier player.
Right.
Even from the checks. I wasn't getting elite checks. I was getting mid-tier checks because you're not responsible enough, to handle it.
I see that.
At that time.
I see that. So we're going to transition to the Laker days because I think most people remember you most for that Game 7. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But you getting to the Lakers, what did that look like? How did you get there the first time?
The Lakers is cool. So actually, I tell a story a lot. I tell a lot of stories a lot because I get interviewed a lot.
Hey, you one of those guys. Everybody want to hear you talk.
I know, man.
Everybody want to hear you
I get
talk.
interviewed so much, but yeah. So the story was, it was after the Rockets, right? And then we just played really well against the Lakers. So I wanted to go back to the Rockets because we lost, and I'm like, man, I want to win. Yao Ming breaks his foot.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was
Y'all had a
sickening.
stacked team that year too.
Stacked. We were just like really good. So then, after that series, the Rockets said they wasn't gonna have me back. So I said, like, cool. So I told my agent I want to go to either back to Indiana, or to Detroit, the Pistons, and that wasn't gonna happen.
Why Detroit?
Just because of the story. Because I was thinking like, I want to win a title, and I'm like, if I can win a title in Indiana, that would be amazing because
Right.
of that story. And then when that wasn't an option, I'm like, oh wow, if I can win a title in Detroit,
Yeah.
that would be amazing.
Yeah, that story would have been amazing. Yeah.
And I was just thinking about the story. So I'm like, that would be amazing. And then that didn't happen. So then I wanted to go to Greece because I always picture. Well, the Knicks, I knew the Knicks almost happened. The Knicks almost happened.
Right.
Again, I can't tell that story, but I was like,
You can't tell a story?
I cannot tell a story.
All right.
I can't tell a story, but I was literally going to be a Knick in 2010.
Right.
And then that didn't happen. I knew that wasn't going to happen. And then I was going to go overseas to Greece.
Right.
Because I always wanted to play overseas in my prime. But then when we was talking to Greece was like, Ron Artest don't want to come to Greece.
Right.
He's an elite basketball player.
Yeah.
And my mom like, how y'all know what I want?
Right. Yeah.
I want to come to Greece. I know the money ain't the same. I want to come to Greece because I love European basketball.
It is
I
different.
love Croatia basketball.
Yeah, it's different.
Serbia. It's Russia. It's like so aggressive and so many great players.
Yeah.
So when we couldn't get over there, we were just waiting. And these conversations happen quick. Literally, these conversations happen within a day.
Oh yeah.
I talked to my agent, and literally this happened within a day.
Okay.
So then I was at the SLS hotel, and then I get a call at midnight, and my agent says the Lakers want to talk to you. And the first thing that came to my mind was like, for what? I'm thinking I did something, honestly. I told my agent, for what? And he said they want to offer you a contract. And I'm like, initially I'm like, Kobe just beat me.
Yeah. And y'all had some good battles between
My brother
you two.
Kobe. Yeah, we did. I was like, yeah, he just beat me. I like, man. But I didn't have no more options, honestly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So the
I
Lakers
wasn't getting
it
no
was.
calls from teams saying they want, Ron Artest. But Kobe, Phil Jackson, they took a chance, Dr. Bus, RIP Dr. Bus, they all took a chance.
Because they just coming off a championship, right? And then Trevor Ariza ended up with Charlotte or something like that. He took a trip somewhere else who was starting for them in 2009. So they had a hole to fill. They needed that defense.
Well, Trevor, because Trevor actually had the contract, but something happened. He can tell his story. I know he wanted to be there, but I can't. I don't really know the ins and outs.
Right.
But I know he definitely wanted to be there. But something happened, and then I was just able to get picked and get there.
How different was playing with the Lakers compared to playing with Indiana, Chicago, or some of the other teams, Houston, Sacramento?
Well, the team was different. I mean, these guys are focused on winning the ring. When I got there, the mindset, first practice was championship.
Right.
Which I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
I like this. It's just different. Some teams, you're not built for a championship. You don't know if you want to win a championship. But some people want to win a championship. And some people, everybody's mindset is there. And I'm a believer of, even if you can't win, your goal should be championship.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it probably changes the way you even approach the game, right? For those 82 games in the regular season. Like if you're thinking about championships, you're probably going to play your best ball every single night.
Yeah. Yeah, you should be thinking about it. You should be thinking about it. I mean, I just think you should be. I can be wrong, but I just feel you should be thinking about it.
I think you're right, because I remember this season, there was a picture from the Minnesota Timberwolves locker room. And they had like a billboard or like a whiteboard of all of their goals. And goal 1 was make the playoffs. And goal 2 was win the championship.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? It depends on. You got to adjust your coaching accordingly.
I can see
And
that.
sometimes the pressure, you don't know like who's around. Just getting to another level is good. It just depends. Everybody's different.
Right.
I think you leave that up to the player, but I believe that you should be trying to win a championship. You know, at the end of the season, because it'll make you better, it'll make you competitive. And you know, if you come up short, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that. What's your favorite Kobe story?
Fair. I got a lot of them. I mean, he just his. I mean, so many, but mainly, but I would probably say his his work ethic is my favorite stories. Probably. He had a lot of stories, but I think his work ethic stands out. Just to see him perfecting his craft in the morning times, that stands out because it shows that he's putting in work.
Yeah.
And if you really love basketball, you respect that.
Right. So you say morning times. Well, how early we talking? Kobe was in the gym.
He began the gym 5:30, man. He began the gym at 5:30.
We talking game days or just every day?
I'm referring to summertime.
Okay.
Game days when he was in his prime, before he was like his body started to hurt after a while. But before that, he was in the gym early.
Right.
Or practice days, he's in the gym early. Hour before maybe, getting some shots up. Yeah.
Just the greatest, man.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
greatest. I want to talk about that speech because you win the championship and immediately, first of all, you shout out the hood, which I think everybody loved. But then after that, you shouted out your therapist, right?
Yeah.
Basically becoming, in my eyes, the first NBA player to really talk about mental health. And since then, we've had players like DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Love, pretty much talk about their own personal struggles. But I would say you were like the beginner of all of that.
Well, I think when it comes to like that and athletes, I think I'm not gonna say I was the beginning. I'm gonna say maybe I did it different. Those guys have their own story, and I have my own story, and I think it's cool to share your story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now they're here now, and they carrying, the legacy of what people did before us, before me, speaking out on anything, right? And they're empowering the youth and people to not be afraid to speak out.
Right.
And I think that's positive.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, I say you were the beginning because for me, I don't remember anybody ever doing it, especially not on that platform, right? Everybody's watching the NBA championship, especially it's a game 7. It's a game 7. We're talking about the dude that just hit the biggest shot, and just to come out and pretty much open the world up to mental health is great, man. It's amazing.
I mean, I thought it was. I mean, well, for me personally, I pretty much just blurt out stuff, and I've been an open book, too much of an open book for my career. I wish I could do it again. I would just close a lot of books.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. But I just you meet people, you see people, you do, and just tell your story.
Yeah.
Right, and at that time it hit me. The whole playoffs, I was like talking to my therapist, and then it hit me. We talked about that game 7, because that whole season I was struggling because I wasn't getting the ball.
Right.
Right?
Playing with Kobe.
Oh, it was just the whole squad.
Yeah.
Because everybody could play.
Yeah, everybody's
and the
talented.
triangle was different. And I had to become a role player in my head. You're a role player. You're a role player. So that season, me and my therapist was working on just relaxing, focusing on positives, and really enjoying the moment. And so when we won that championship, I didn't know I was going to have 20 points. Honestly, I thought I'd have about maybe 8.
Right.
If that.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah.
And then, I was like, well, I had to thank her. It just hit me. I'm having this great time, and I'm just like, wow, I'm just having so much fun. And everything's just coming to me at once. Queensbridge. Oh, shout out to Queensbridge. Oh, my therapist. Shout out to my therapist. Oh, my boy, Ruck Childish. I shout out my boys. I literally shouted out my boys.
Yeah.
I said their names.
Yeah.
In this interview. Like, man, it's crazy. And then the record, Champion. Oh my goodness,
Champion. There it
Champion's
is.
out. Go, Champion's out. Oh, but it's not out right now. We just gotta wait 7 days. It's just a good time. It's a good time.
It's a legendary speech. Did it feel better to get that championship against Paul Pierce?
Not really.
Not really.
I like Paul. It wasn't that I got against Paul Pierce. It's that I got one.
Right.
That was it.
That was better than anything.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Because y'all did have a lot of good battles throughout y'all career. And you just say it was nothing against him, but it's like the old saying, iron sharpens iron, right? You made him a better offensive player and vice versa, right?
Yeah. I think me playing against Paul, I think it helped him in some games. I would see some games I play against Paul, and the next game he get 40.
Right.
And I was in, I'll be in his shirt. Because the thing with me and Paul was, it's like when I came against LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
When LeBron came in the league, I was not ready for that. I wasn't ready for this strong, fast guy that is just continuing to work hard. Right. So he was working for a long time. I think when Paul played against me, he was always the bigger guy. But I was like this bigger, strong guy, and defensively I was good. So I think it's like, how do you prepare for that? Mm-hmm. Like, how do you prepare for LeBron on offense? You got to be prepared to take a hit and stand there. Mm. Like, how are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Because he's going to hit you and you're going to go back that way. Mm. That means you got to be in the gym when you're like 10 years old, lifting weights.
I never really thought about it like that.
It's hard.
And The Last Dance, I know I keep referencing The Last Dance, but I just watched it again on the plane here. But in The Last Dance, Dennis Rodman, in his interview, he's talking about, like, Larry Bird shoots a shot, I know it's coming off like this. When Magic shoots, I know it's coming off like this. It's got to be some type of parallel to, like, defensively, right? Because you can't guard everybody the same way. You just mentioned how you got to guard LeBron. What was the technique for guarding Kobe before y'all were teammates?
Well, I never changed my strategy.
Okay.
I didn't watch tape.
Hold on, stop right there. You trying to tell me Metta World Peace, former Defensive Player of the Year, never watched tape? Listen, anytime I film something, I'm watching it over and over and over just to see how I can get better. But he's one of the greatest of all time at defending, and he never watched film. That is unheard of.
I just felt like I was the better defender.
Right.
I just felt I was going to lock you up. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't need to watch tape, which was the wrong approach.
Okay. I mean, they got you a Defensive Player of the Year, so it couldn't be that bad.
Yeah, but when you watch tape, you can always watch tape. You always want to watch tape.
Right.
And learn.
Okay. We're gonna watch the tape of this interview so I can get better at it.
Yeah, me too.
Let's go back to Game 7. Talk about the shot. Kobe passes you the ball because I think, if I remember correctly, they were trying to bring like a double towards him, right? And they were playing off of you.
Yeah.
That ball gets to your hand. What is in your mind?
Well, my mind was stay ready and just flow. And then so Chuck, that jab step was Chuck Person taught me that. Chuck Person and Larry Bird. That was a drill we worked on.
Those are the Indiana days.
Yeah, Indiana days. Most of my improvement came from working with those guys. I mean, it was a simple move. It was a jab shot. Mm-hmm. So it was like flow. Just be ready and just don't try to predict anything. Right. Just play the game. Because playing with the Lakers, you can't predict because you might never touch the ball. Right? So you got to just be ready. Mm-hmm. Just be ready. Mm. So that was it, really. I got the ball. I don't have time to be like worrying. Paul was closing out. I would have shot it, but he closed out. Small jab. He took a half a step back.
Take a little step, yep.
And once you see somebody go back, you just go into your shot. Mm-hmm. If you're driving, you can just look at it. You know when you're going to have enough room to shoot, even if you're shorter. Mm. Once they step back, just go up. Because the momentum is going backwards. It's going to take them a little second to get back to you. Right,
yeah.
Right? Take a little second to get back to you.
When the shot comes off your fingertips, do you know it's going in immediately?
No.
No?
Not at all. Mm. My focus was, on that shot, my focus was, I would say, actually it's really simple. Middle of the rim, elbow up, follow through. That's what Chuck Person taught me. So I don't care if it goes in. I just care that I'm following the rules.
Right. Right.
So if it would have missed, honestly, I would have been fine. Mm-hmm. With it missing, I would have been pissed. We'd have still been up 3-2.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. I was like, if we miss, they can only tie the game. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We still have another shot.
Right.
And we got Kobe Bryant.
Right.
And he'll make me look good.
It's hard for you to fail when you got Kobe.
At that time, it was hard to fail. It was a good gamble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Ain't no stopping me when you know that I called that.
So on this show, we want to talk about hoops. We want to talk about sneakers too, right? In your career, you went through a lot of different brands of things.
Yes.
At one point, you had your own signature shoe.
A lot of times.
What was that process like of getting that signature shoe?
Well, I always wanted my signature shoe from Nike, but that didn't work out. I just feel like being the best defender at my time, I should have a defensive shoe.
Right.
You got your offensive players, and all your offensive players, I'm locking a lot of them up. Mm-hmm. So then I just went to do my own shoe, and it was great because I was with K1X. K1X was cool. When I look at it, I didn't really like the business of it. But it was cool because it said like Ron Artest. It was my first time having my own shoe.
Yeah.
and it was like a little royalty deal, which I would never do those type of deals. I would do rev sharing off the top, everything.
I am learning that too.
No royalty.
Yep.
You keep your royalty.
Yep.
Your Highness. And then and I also I don't want nobody designing my shoe. So with that shoe, but it was a great experience. And we had a nice little brand. And actually that year, I think that was the year I got suspended.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the year I got
was,
suspended.
yep.
So it was actually doing well. Good Lord.
And they took it off the table, right?
That wasn't the year I got suspended. I had K1X before, then I got LA Gear.
That's what I was thinking about, right?
Then I had LA Gear.
And they took that one off the table.
That
after
one they
the
took
brawl.
away.
Yeah.
That was a better experience, but still, when you're designing shoe with shoe companies, what I realize is when you're designing a mold, it costs money for the mold.
Yeah.
So most of the molds are there already. So the shoe companies is telling you we're going to design it like this, but they only have so many options.
Okay.
Because the molds is there, right? So you want to get in on a mold and then go from there.
Right.
And you want a little technology in your shoe.
Yeah.
Now that all costs money. So if I could do it over, I would have done it like that. But I did LA Gear. That was cool. Then Kobe got me a deal with Nike.
Yeah.
Right? Kobe got me a deal with Nike, but I wanted to do a music video, right? Because Rick Ross just came out with that Nike music video.
Okay.
And when I seen that, I'm like, yo, I know I'm not the man anymore, but I just want to like be creative. So when I couldn't do my own rap in the music video, I just didn't take the Nike deal.
Oh wow! Just left it on the table.
Yeah, I left it. It was like 2.4 for 4 years. It was gonna be my biggest deal because I lost all my deals.
Right. I've heard plenty of stories of people giving up on things for a rap career, but a Nike deal? Come on, man, he tripping.
But then I took $75,000 from an Army vet from Chicago.
Okay.
I took $75,000 from this Army veteran. This company is called Ballin', and he's an Army vet who launched his own shoe company. So I said, all right, cool, let's just do it. Honestly, I give me the shoes. I'm busy.
Yeah.
Right. So I wore his shoes, and I showed up. But it was hard. He was running the thing on his own.
Yeah.
It was hard. But I was like, I wouldn't mind seeing it successful. And so I did that. It was a great shoe. It had D3O technology in it. Actually,
Really?
It didn't look the greatest. It looked like it was Michael Jackson playing basketball. That's how the shoe looked.
Right.
Shiny, and it's like I was dancing the whole time.
The performance was good though.
The performance was incredible.
Okay.
The performance was incredible. One of my favorite shoes. And then I had Peak.
Peak. Yep.
Lou Williams signed with Peak.
Shout out to
I had
Peak.
my own shoe there, but I still like I wanted to get more in the process. And then I got the Pandas.
The Pandas. Everybody loves the Pandas.
The Pandas is great. The Pandas I actually sold. So when I was working with the company, I thought they was gonna, every time somebody buys a shoe, they ship it out. And at that time, I wasn't trying to get in the shoe business, but I'm like, cool, put the Panda logo on there. But people bought shoes, but we couldn't get them the shoes.
Oh, the demand was too high?
Yeah, I had to give everybody back their money.
Oh, wow.
I said, I'm not selling you shoes no more. I had to give everybody back their money. Because we couldn't get them the shoes. I didn't want them waiting a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got the cash. I said, you know what? It was fun.
Right.
I made cash selling shoes. And so now I just took a break from that. But just as a basketball player, it's always good to have your own shoe.
I feel like now there's not that many brands, right? You just mentioned a couple brands that don't sponsor NBA players anymore. Because right now it seems like everybody's either Nike, New Balance is kind of getting in there,
New Balance is getting in
Adidas.
there.
But
Adidas.
there's like 5 brands in the NBA. What happened to all those other brands?
I don't know. Like Dada. Remember Dada?
Right, I remember that.
I had a contract with Dada.
With the spinners, right?
Yeah, I was at Milwaukee one time playing with the Dadas, and I was playing defense, running, and I was just going hard, and I just running slide, boom, the tire came off,
Oh, my
and was
God.
spinning down the court, right? And I was so embarrassed, right? I'm like, no.
When I was
The
a kid,
tire
I
came off,
wanted a pair of
spinning
Dadas.
down
They
the
just look
court.
so cool.
Every time you want to spin, zoop,
Yeah,
zoop,
just
zoop.
it's just crazy.
Yeah, it was a great shoe. But I had a good time with the with whoever the owners were. I forget, but I had a good time.
I definitely remember Latrell, right? Latrell hooped in them all
Latrell
the
was
time.
hooping in them. Yeah. Latrell was hooping in them.
That's what I remember from Latrell.
Then in the All-Star game, I wore 2.
Right, you switched it up, right? You switched two. You wore 2 different because you were
I was
you're a
at
free
that time.
agent,
I wasn't
right?
with nobody.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so I wore 2 Dotters, 1 half. Next half, I might have wore Nikes or somebody. I'm like, I just need a deal.
Yeah.
I just want a deal. So yeah.
I think more NBA players do that now. I mean, they stay with their brand. Like PJ Tucker switches shoes like 4 times a game, just to show off his
Different
shoes.
brands?
No, same brand.
Oh.
Usually Nike.
He switches 4 times a game.
It has been times where he switched 4 times. Every quarter, he just ripped different
Really?
sneakers. Yeah. That's how much of a sneakerhead he is, though. Shout out to PJ Tucker.
Crazy.
All right. We appreciate you coming. We got one last thing. The name of the show is called Game, right? Game is on the line. Who do you want taking your shot?
Okay. Do I want? LeBron has now entered into a big time game maker, shot maker in the game. Okay. He's just now his last, actually, maybe the last 7 years, he has entered into that. Before, you would say Kobe or Jordan. Right, so I'm gonna give you 5. I'm gonna say LeBron. I'm gonna say Jordan, Kobe, Steph Curry, and then I'm gonna say, who am I missing?
I don't know. I saw a guy hit a Game 7
Myself?
dagger in 2010.
That was one time. I'm not Robert Horry.
Robert Horry. That's a pull. Robert Horry has so many big time shots.
Robert Horry, Derek Fisher, Robert Horry.
0.4 seconds for Derek Fisher is all he needed.
Wow.
Ridiculous.
Honestly, if my life was on the line, I'd give Derek Fisher.
Gotta get to Derek Fisher.
I would. Like my life on the line, yeah.
That's
Like,
high praise.
if I'm gonna fall from a building and somebody has to hit a shot,
It's Derek Fisher.
no question.
Why him though? I know he's hit some big shots, but what makes him different than like
They both hit big shots. Kobe and Derek both hit big shots, and I love both of them. They both hit big shots. I've seen Derek hit just as many big shots as Kobe.
Yeah.
Different timing. Now, I'm not saying Derek is the same player as Kobe.
Right.
And I can give it to Kobe too also. Honestly, you can give it to Kobe.
So we asked Metta, game is on the line, who you pass the ball to of course, call game. He gave us some real interesting answers. Number 1, we have MJ. Of course, Michael Jordan. Everybody's gonna pick Michael Jordan. Number 2, he gave us Kobe. Rest in peace to Kobe, but of course, I would get a ball to Kobe too. Then he gave us some real interesting answers with LeBron. LeBron has hit some shots, but I didn't expect him to be on this list. We got one of the greatest shooters of all time, Stephen Curry. Because, I mean, if the game is on the line, if you down by 3, there's no better person to get a ball to. Then we got big shot, Robert Horry. This makes sense. The dude has more rings than I have fingers right here. He's just got so many. But the one that came out of nowhere, this guy right here, all the way over here, Derek Fisher. Hey, it's Metta's list, not mine.
I'm just saying, like, from playing with Derek, I was on the back of the bus one day talking to Derek. And Kobe was in the back, actually. Derek was sitting, Kobe was sitting. Yeah, because Derek's in the back of Kobe. And I went past Kobe one time. I was like, Derek, because we were in the playoffs. Like, how do you hit big shots? And I asked him this question, like, if you ask a math teacher, how do you do 2 + 2?
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing him, and I'm like, every time he's in the back of the bus, I'm just like, in my mind, like, how does Derek keep doing this? Like, why is it going in the basket? When I shoot, it doesn't always go in the basket. But I'm trying my best. I'm practicing. So I'm like, what is it? So I'm like, he was actually telling me. We spoke for like an hour, and then Kobe actually chimed in.
Okay.
A little bit. Kobe chimed in, and I was like, okay. I was like, Derek, how do you do this? But honestly, I was talking to Derek more because Kobe's probably a little bit busy too.
Right.
Right? Kobe probably a little bit busy on his phone. I didn't want to hound Kobe, but they both was giving me insight. And it was all like spiritual things, belief. It was all belief things. And then I was listening because I never met someone who could actually hit shots. Derek hit him in the first quarter. He hit him in the third quarter. He hit him in the second quarter with 2 seconds left on the shot clock.
Yep.
He hit him in the in the first quarter with 5 seconds left in the first quarter. You know, he'll hit him when you're down 2.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter. He'll hit it when it's tied.
Just all the time. He was there.
Yeah.
Man.
Like all the time.
Yeah.
It's literally insane.
Wow.
If he would have had that ball in Game 7, he would have made the shot.
He would hit it too.
He was in left corner.
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that.
I remember I was looking at everybody. Damn, and Lamar was here. Lamar would have hit that shot too. And then Powell was underneath the basket.
Right.
Kobe was obviously. It would have been cool. People should actually look at making some computer thing where Kobe hit the shot, like he took it. He would have made that shot too.
Yeah. I mean, nothing but great shooters right there.
Nothing but shooters, yeah.
Man. Yeah. Well, that's it. We appreciate you coming through.
Thank you. Much success to your new show.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to tune in next week to see who's on Call Game. I'll see you then. Subscribe. Peace.